everyone, and I'm talking here to the amazing cast of Fucktoys, which is a very cool name.
Said it.
Please welcome Annapurna Sriram, Brandon Flynn, Sadie Scott, and Francois Arnaud. Thank you for being here. Yes, cheers, please.
Having us.
Yes, thank you.
So I have to start by asking you, of course, how did you land on this title, and what did you want it to immediately convey about the story?
So I wrote this script 8 years ago, and it was a different time, or was it? I don't know. I was younger, and I was in the throes of fuckboys, and I wanted to write. I thought it'd be funny to do a twist on a fuckboy, and that's where I wrote Fucktoy. And at the time, I thought, this is such a in-your-face, edgy title, and everyone remembered it. That's for sure. But then, over the course of 8 years, when you're making something, everyone is also telling you, you can't call your movie that. And I think that among other things, as a first-time female filmmaker, you're told all of the things that you can't do as an artist, and it feels pretty arbitrary. And I'm pretty stubborn, and over time, I think I turned the naysayers into almost like a rallying cry.
Oh, yeah.
Where I was like, you know what? If you're gonna tell me not to call this Fucktoys, I'm calling it Fucktoys, and I'm not gonna change it. Also, my producers were all completely on board with the title.
Cool.
My actors were on board with the title. My parents were not so much. So I think that in a way, taking a phrase like fucktoy, which is a dehumanizing term for a sexual object, but making it a fun, playful reclamation is kind of what this movie's all about. It's about taking slut shame. It's about taking whorephobia. It's about taking all these ideas of being fetishized and making it fun and sexy and playful. And I think that we're in an age where if we don't asterisk the you see a fuck, and that's offensive to you, but denying people the right to be their gender isn't offending you, then we have other things to talk about. So we're in the era of wet ass pussy, so let's be fucktoys. Come on now.
Well said indeed. And you've said before that you were also tired of getting roles that were stereotypical. And this is kind of your way to write something for yourself.
Yeah.
And speaking with this, why is this the genre, I guess, that you chose? Something that's also very, as you said, in your face, but I feel like that's a bold step. What made you go for it?
Well, as a kid, I loved movies. My mom really had us rent movies from the Nashville Public Library. So I rented Polyester, But I'm a Cheerleader, Boogie Nights, a lot of very sexy, fun, pulpy, titillating movies. And that was the thing that, as a kid, I was like, that's what I want to do. And, obviously when I grew up, suddenly I'm in the industry, and it's procedurals, you're the doctor, you're the girl in the arranged marriage, you're the headscarf character. And I just kind of felt like, but I wanted to do these weird, funny, campy movies. Yeah. And they don't really exist. We're kind of in a dry spell. And so I was like, damn, now I have to write myself my slutty character so I can do it before I age out. Being a hoe.
I love that. And then talk to me about the casting process. What was that like? And for all three of you too.
Yeah. I think they can definitely take this one. I'll toss this.
What was compelling about your characters to all of you?
Well, AP and I did a short film together, and she handed me that script. I read it the day of because I wanted to read it, before we went to set on the next day. And I was like, "Oh my God, this is the most insane shit I've ever read," and you have to make this. And I didn't know how serious you were about making it at that point. And then
I was very serious.
Yeah. Well, I guess. But for some reason, I thought I would help make that happen, and not really. But thank you for keeping me on board, and I just loved everything about it, and the free reins that you gave us as actors, and the freedom to bring so much to the table, and you just being there. I mean, and Annapurna is an incredible writer-director with insane vision and determination, but she's also a lovely, dropped-in, honest actor. And it's just such a pleasure to be in scenes with her. And like, as wild as my character is in the movie, or ends up being, I also felt like I had nothing to do. Like I just had to be there with her. And that's what I'm looking for in general in my work, and rarely finding.
Cool. What about both of you?
I begged Annapurna for this role. We had met a few years before through the New Group, which is a theater in New York, and so I had her Instagram. And when I got the audition, I DM'd her and I was like, "Hey, I want this role." And then I auditioned, and then for a few months, like would text her frequently and just be like, "Still thinking about that role. You know, if you give it to someone else, that's totally fine. I respect whatever your decision you make." And then she gave it to me. And it was a role that I didn't typically go out for. It was a role that when I was like a kid, you know, Johnny Depp and Crybaby, like that kind of boy, I always was just like that. I want to play that. And at the time just was never going to get cast that way. So I had to really, kind of tell Annapurna that I could do it. And then she believed in me, and yeah.
Also the part that Sadie plays was originally written for a boy, and
a cis man.
When we got into casting, I was like, I'm sick of this shit.
Yeah.
Let's give this part to someone who would never get this part. So I told my casting directors, like, let's open up the casting and like bring in whoever is not a boy. And Sadie came out in their audition, and I was like, fuck yeah, like this is like, take it, you know.
I kind of literally was like, I am trans. I know it doesn't look that way right now, but like I am. And then truly, like through the film, like I discovered so many other parts of myself through playing that character. And it's crazy that it's coming out now, like post transition or through the transition process. It's been a kind of crazy, perfect alignment of time.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've known AP since the college days. That's almost been a decade now, like over 9 years. But she had come and yeah, sorry. It was like almost like yesterday. But she came and saw my showcase and ran up to my face and was like, "You're so good, and the industry is just gonna put you in as pretty boy, and you can't let them. You're dangerous. And you did, yeah." Wow. And
Brandon, you're dangerous.
she was like a psychic because you're dangerous. I don't know, something like that.
No,
but it was like
amazing.
it was like a psychic. Like, you know, I did kind of fall into the industry and was the sort of like romantic, you know, attractive male, and I've been grateful for those parts. But when this movie was in its progression, like I just kept craving that what I knew AP was going to give me, which was the gift to like go and be dangerous and be full of choices and like, you know, just throw it all out. And yeah.
Also, Brandon, Brandon is a very pretty boy. They all are very pretty, okay? I like pretty people, I guess. But, you know, I think in this movie, I think actually for Francois and Brandon, they both show so much comedy and turn on a dime and become scary, and they balance both of those dichotomies like so perfectly that it's really exciting as a director to feel like I discovered them, but to feel like
we'll never get cast as pretty boys again. Thank you, AK.
But you don't want that. You want to be like, I'm funny and then I'm scary, and like it's unpredictable and so spontaneous, and they all three just carry so much idiosyncrasy in their who they are as people, and then what they are able to then bring to the characters.
Yeah. Can you talk about, I mean, considering you mentioned the fact that you have these genres that you're balancing, as a director, what's it like to keep pushing the envelope and keep getting that performance out of them, but also out of you?
Interesting question. Okay, let me process that for a second. I think that I don't think that I ever felt like I was pushing the envelope. I think that a lot of the scenes in my film felt very normal and casual to me. I just understand they might not be everybody's Tuesday. That's the audience. But it was very important that, you know, that the things that were happening in the film have a certain degree of normalcy, and it's not like shock as much as it's like, yeah, people exist with a kink, or, you know, with whatever. And I think that I just think that my actors were really good. These ones, as well as there's 28 people in my cast, we really, really worked to cast really strong theater actors from New York or from LA or from wherever, and really making sure that they embodied the thing that they were going to be playing, so that they felt truthful and honest as that person that they are.
Yeah.
And I just was really lucky that my producers let me cast the best actor for the role and not just the biggest influencer for the role.
Yeah.
And I think that that's like a big game changer in
hell
cinema. Yeah. And I felt like I did nothing. These people just all brought it, and I just was like, maybe stand here, or you know.
And what about directing yourself? What was that like?
We were talking about this earlier. You know, we live in the era of endless self-tapes. I think actors are like constantly taping themselves and perceiving themselves as a director as like the imagined director that's going to watch their self-tape. So I, you know, I've been doing that for over 10 years. I have a lot of comfortability, I would say, with just that process. But my cinematographer and I spent 11 days during COVID. We went to an Airbnb, we shot listed the whole film, and then we test shot the whole movie on a camcorder in the house, like making each room in the house like the different sets, with other people playing the parts, just like reading off a script, so that I could be behind camera as a director and really get a chance to walk through and sort of rehearse the entire shoot of the film behind camera, so that when we were there on the day, I already knew like these are the shots that we're gonna get, and you know, there's no surprises for me. And then I just really had to lock in on being grounded and acting off of whoever I was working with that day.
And you trusted your collaborators like Corey from like
Yes.
so much, and you could feel that on set. And I don't know, it felt like such a strong relationship that you had with your producers and the DP, that like you didn't
Yeah.
really need to. It was like really quick, efficient communication. Is a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much for being
Oh my
here.
God, that's it?
I could keep going, but we have to.
Fast.
Thank you. Come see the movie.
I know. Yes. Congratulations
No, thank
again.
you so much for having. Thank you all for coming. This is so random, amazing.
Thanks for being here.
Did you all get shirts? Okay, good. Yes, make them into crop tops or halter tops. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Thank you.